Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. As we're getting closer to the end of the book of Deuteronomy, we're finding that Moses is receiving some very discouraging information. Two of the things that are perhaps the most discouraging for a person who is serving the Lord is one, that your fruit won't last, and two, that you won't be able to see the fruit of your labors. And that's basically the two messages that Moses is receiving in Deuteronomy chapter 32. This song that he's given by the Lord is a song about the fact that the people will rebel and that they will fall away from the Lord. And so all the work, all the labor that Moses had done in going up on the mountain and receiving the commandments and working as a mediator to bring a covenant between God and the people of Israel, the hard work that he did in constructing the tabernacle, the hard work that he did in working with them and judging between them day after day, he is given this word that in future generations, they're just going to fall away anyways. It could have been very discouraging to Moses to hear this word from the Lord, but also the fact that he wouldn't see the fruit of his labors. We're told here at the end of, or he's told at the end of Deuteronomy chapter 32, that he was going to go up on the mountain and that he was not going to enter into the land. He says in verse 52, "You shall see the land at a distance, but you shall not go there, into the land which I am giving the sons of Israel." If you think about it, the last third of Moses' life was dedicated to basically bringing the people into the land of promise. All the way back from the first time he encountered the elders and told them that the Lord was going to deliver them through the plagues, through the going through the Red Sea, and for the 40 years in the wilderness, and having to deal with the difficult people, the rebellious people, the complaining people, but all with the hopes of one day bringing them into the land of promise, and working year after year and laboring for the Lord year after year with that in mind. And then to get to the end of your life and to realize that you're not going to be able to see the fruits of your labor. Again, could have been very discouraging for Moses. And so basically, he had these two messages. His fruit would not last, and he will not see the fruit of his labors. And as we think about the life of Moses, I don't know that any Christian would ever say that Moses' life was a waste. Even though we know that he, at the end of his life, he was not able to enter the land, even though we know that in future generations, they're just going to rebel against the Lord, they're going to get caught up in idolatry, and the Lord's going to have to discipline them, and he's eventually going to drive them out of the land. Even though we know all that, we look at Moses' life, and I don't think anyone looks at his life and says, "Oh, what a waste. Why did Moses serve the Lord for those 40 years?" We all see that Moses' working for the Lord was a good thing, and that he will ever go down as a faithful servant of the Lord, as having a wonderful contribution to God's working among people. Of course, his labor was not in vain, but Moses could have felt that way as he got to the end of his life. And this is something that we must remember too as we work for the Lord, because there might be times in which we don't see the fruits of our labor. Maybe the Lord calls us to do something that to involve ourselves in some type of service or ministry, and maybe it completely unravels and nothing seems to come of it. Maybe we labor in a church year after year after year, but it doesn't seem like any progress is taking place, or nothing's really being accomplished. Or maybe we're basically laboring for a future generation that we won't see. And all the work that we're doing, all the fruit that we're bearing is fruit that we won't ever be able to personally witness. that will only be beneficial to people that go on after us. And if we're not careful, we could become discouraged and think, well, what's the point of working for the Lord if I can't see the fruit of my labors? Especially in an industrial society where we are all about production and being able to see what we are actually able to produce, having tangible results for the work that we put in. This might be very discouraging to people who are working for the Lord. But we have to remember Moses. Even if we serve the Lord all the days of our life, even if we put in 80 years of service to God, twice as much as Moses did in the wilderness, and we never see really anything come out of it, at least not visibly or tangibly. And even though perhaps maybe we have the hope of a future generation being benefited, but we don't get to see it ourselves, we should never be discouraged. We should recognize the fact that just living a life of faithfulness to God, being obedient to Him, just being faithful in the few pages that we feel in the big book that God has of human history is enough reward of itself. Just living a faithful life, it should be enough reward for us. And we should recognize the fact that if we are serving the Lord, if we're being faithful to the Lord, it is enough, even if we don't see any results. And we also have to remember that we have the hope of a future resurrection in which then we really will see the fruits of our labor. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, that famous chapter about the resurrection, Paul concludes that chapter with this. It says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your toil is not in vain in the Lord." And that's a good word for us to remember. When we might think that all is vain and empty, when we think everything is just unraveling and not really coming to anything, we know because of a future hope that we have in the resurrection that our labors will return to us, and that the Lord remembers what we have done. He remembers the faithful way in which we have served Him, and that will not come back to us void. And so we can serve the Lord with diligence, being encouraged, and knowing that the Lord sees our labors and our labors are not in vain. So these are some things to think about today as we do our reading. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.